And that starts with calling it the end of the world. It's not like the planet exploded or cracked in half or melted or anything like that. The world itself is perfectly fine. It's just that almost everybody is dead. Here's the thing. We all know that it was a devastating tragedy. Why keep bringing that up? Anybody you talk to, you literally can't have more than 15 seconds of conversation before they've got to switch the topic to the apocalypse. I'm not suggesting that it isn't a major news story. I'm just saying that it doesn't have to be the only news story. You know what I'm saying? It's been almost 4 months. Believe me, I've got plenty to whine about. I'm pretty much on my own at this point. For a short while after humanity's 99.7% demise, I was traveling with a woman named Cindy. Unfortunately, I sort of botched the timing on bringing up the whole, hey, we've got to repopulate the topic, and I found myself surviving on my own. Sure, the mutants are a problem. And yes, they're mutants. It seems like some people want to call any non-verbal human with a messed up face a zombie. But they go down pretty quick with a shot to the head. Come on. Who among us thought we'd get the chance to open fire on real people without it being a felony? Now, some survivors did have to defend themselves against mutated friends and or family. And there's no question that it must have sucked. If you're one of them, you have the right to be motivated. That's not who I'm complaining about. It's the folks who had to shoot 3 or 4 mutant strangers, yet are acting like they had to drown their own mother in a bathtub. 3 words, get over it. Would I rather the plague not have claimed billions of lives? Of course. You'd have to be a fool or psychotic to feel otherwise. But are those billions of people going to get right back up and return to their normal routines? No. Especially because they're not zombies. It happened, the streets are littered with corpses, so let's make the best of it. Take Disney World, for example. The rides aren't working because there's no electricity, but admit it. Haven't you always wanted to get out of the car in the Haunted Mansion and just take a look around on your own? I did that a couple days ago and it was an absolute blast. I even tore off a piece of wallpaper as a souvenir. Could I have done that pre-apocalypse? No way. I would have been thrown out of the park. Hell, I even got to climb on the track of Space Mountain and there were no lines anywhere. You don't need some guy walking around in a Mickey Mouse costume to have a good time. Food is a trade-off. I won't lie to you, I miss steak. On the other hand, last week I brought home an entire shopping cart filled with candy. That sucker was overflowing and I left plenty on the shelves. I guess I just don't understand people who always have a negative attitude. Life in a post-apocalyptic world isn't anywhere near as bad as the movies want you to believe. It's actually kind of fun. Now I'm going to head over to Barnes & Noble and take any book I want. I got bit by a mutant this morning. It was my fault. I should have been paying closer attention to my surroundings. It got me right on the arm. They hurt. Oh, God, did that hurt. Still, my gun was within reach, and I've always been ambidextrous, so I took care of him before he was able to actually start chewing. Infection is a concern, I'll admit, but it's not worth getting bent out of shape over. Trust me, I'm not taking a casual attitude toward the bite. I cleaned the wound, which did unfortunately break the skin, thoroughly with antiseptic, and then I covered it with a bandage. I cleaned it again every half an hour after that. Yeah, it stung like crazy, but that means the antiseptic's working, right? When life hands you lemons, you make lemonade. And even though the antiseptic burned worse than pouring lemon juice into the wound, I wasn't going to let it bum me out. I knew a guy who got bit. You wouldn't believe how much he carried on and how much of a pity me attitude he had about the whole thing. You know what he did? He said, I don't want to become one of those things. Shoved his revolver in his mouth and pulled the trigger. Can you believe that? I mean, who kills himself over a mutant bite? I mean, I don't care if I become a shambling, oozing, moaning super mutant. I'm not swallowing a bullet. That's the coward ways it. Screw that. Well, it's been 5 days and the bite is almost completely healed. That's how it works. When you have an upbeat attitude, your body chemistry and immune system responds accordingly. Mind over mutant.